Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today on Masechtas Nedarim daf Tzadi Aleph. We're going to begin on Tzadi Amid Beis by the Mishnah. So Mastis and B'Rishaina, originally Haya Amrim Shalosh Nashim Yotzais. There were three women when they get divorced. V'noitos Ksuba. Even though there is an unusual circumstance in what they say, we will still provide for them their Ksuba. And on this, the Ran says, Mokminan la b'Gemara, we're going to establish that this is Be'eshes Kohen. That this case is going to be the wife of a Kohen. Tehi Be'eshes Yisrael, because if her husband was in fact the Yisrael, says the Ran, Iba Ratzon the Islik Suba. So we know if she had relations Baratzon, so then certainly she's not going to get a ksuba. V'iba oines, it was against her will, amai yotza. So then why does she have to leave? The holo mitzvah al bala. If she was forced upon, she's not usher to her husband. Elah be'eshes kayin, the oines, it was an oines. The nehida sirle islik ksuba. Even though she does have to depart from him, he will still receive a ksuba, because we say the mistap chosadehu, that it's like his field was flooded. Shekadushas kuhunaso garmelo. It was the fact that he was a Kohen that caused this. Shetehisulo, that she is usher to him. Hilchach mazolu garim mishum hachi yeshach suba. Okay, so this the Mishnah explains these three cases. Homeres, in one case is where she says Tami ani lach, that I'm tummy to you, which is that was the first case. In other words, that she became somehow usher to her husband. So again, why she usher to her husband is because she was an Eishes Kain, even though it was an Einus. Second of all, Shemayim Beni Leveinach, that she says that basically her husband is incapable of having children. Says the Ran, Shin Shichva Zaro Yor Kechetz, that when he has relations, the seminal emission, when it comes out during Tashrish, doesn't come out like an arrow. B'shas Tashrish. And therefore, because of that, it's impossible for him to be able to impregnate me. That she's coming based on a claim. Diamra, that she says, Be'ina chutra liyada umar l'kvura. She says, I need kids to help me out when I'm older or when I'm going to die, but you can't produce these children, and it's your fault that I can't. So halav hachi ein b'davra hakulum the amrin le zili lo mifkat, because otherwise you can just say she doesn't have a chiyuv of puravu. So therefore, even though there's no chiyuv of puravu of having children for the woman, at least that's machlokes, but assuming that she doesn't have that obligation, nonetheless, you can still say that I still want to have kids. That she separates herself from having tashmish from Yehudim, and the reason is because of the difficulty of having tashmish. Says the Ran, she asral atzma hanas tashmish kol haYehudim ikivan demuchachal milsa de tashmish kashala. It's something which is a very painful thing for her to engage in, and therefore it's considered like she's an einus as well. Okay. That was the mystery shayna. And then Chazru Leimer Shoteh Ishano says Eneha Be'acher, we're not going to allow her to receive her ksuba in these cases, because maybe she's cast her eyes on someone else, and therefore she's making this statement in order to be able to just get out of the relationship, be able to collect the ksuba, and then she'll be able to move on to a new relationship. Rather, Homeres Tamani Locha, if a woman says that I am tamei and usher to you, again, Eishes Kayin, Tavi Raila Devraha. She has to first bring a proof that she was ma'anas. Otherwise, she's not going to be usher to her husband. She's only going to be usher to her husband if she can actually prove this is what happened to her. Shemayim bin Leveincha, Yasu Derech Bakasha, says the Ran, Meforish Mirushalmi, Yasu Suda, V'yafayis V'etza Toiva Kamashmalan. If for whatever reason she can't have children, so you could still show her the value in your relationship by providing with her a suda and other things. So he has the ability to, the husband has the right to remove and be made for his chelik, since it's Devarim Levein Leveina, as it affects the relationship, so he can have tashmish with her, and then she's separate from everyone else. So the Ran says, since she said that she's tamei, mitzra bala k'mishnari shaina. You should think that she should in fact be usher. So if in fact she's usher, so the kash is, so how do we have the ability to matter her? So we say, because the famous Gemara, the Chol Mekadesh Hadat Rabban Mekadesh after Rabban Kedushmina. So Hakanami, says the Ran, Hacha Kol She'amru L'Bala Tamani Afkinu Rabban L'Kedushmi Kara. It's as though the Kedushin, the original Kedushin, was already uprooted, and therefore she really is like a Panuya. V'nimsa Shemeshashan Ensa Panua Haisa Misham Hachi Shar L'Bala. Therefore, she's mutter to her husband. Very interesting. So we say, because the Rabbanan have the ability to say it was never a marriage, and therefore you're not usher because she was not an Eishasish. So it's not a problem. Okay, because she was a Panuya. Right. So that's one way of reading it. The last line of the Ran, the Medina Vada in Isha she really should not be believed. To remove herself from her husband, Shehemu Shubedislo. Because of the embarrassment of this whole matter, Tekinu b'Mishnari Shaina, we established in the Mishnari Shaina hamniu the ilav the kush to come. It wasn't the fact that she was saying the truth. She wouldn't say that she was basically raped. That's something which a woman's not going to say just to be able to get out of the relationship and have a ksuba. So that's the idea. Question 14. Homeris tamaniloch himadin Torah nemanim alal uma hatam, says the Ran lamaskana enu nemenes. So over here it sounds like she's neman. We're going to see enu nemenes nenish mafkia atzma mabala shimishubadaslo. So we're going to see that actually that is the maskana, that because she is meshubah to her husband, so therefore she's not able to get out of it. Okay, let's continue now with the Gemara. Actually, also question 2. Madu isha shomeres hashemayim yenovencha teitze b'ksuva l'mishmeshena v'harihi enu mitzuba perverivia. So it's because she says she's bama machmas taina, and she says beina chutru liyado amar kvura, that I still have value in wanting to have a husband, and that's the reason for that. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So let's put this to the side. I have a lot of tests over here. So let's see the Gemara now. Okay. Iboilu. Amru labala tamani. So she says that I'm tamei. So mahu shetayich b'truma. What is the din? Do we allow her to eat truma? Says the Ran. The dilma labal hu delamihimna. Maybe we said in the Mishnah Chorina we don't believe her. Kadesh titin ineha bi'acher, because again she may have interest in another man. Of a betruma mihimna. Maybe we will believe her the fact that she now is going to be not allowed to eat truma. So we say like this. It's actually a machlokas. We say she should still eat it, because once people would see that she's not eating truma, that she's also the truma, people are going to probably say that, the fact that she said tumani, must be she's telling the truth, and therefore maybe her children are not really her husband's children. Maybe they come from an illicit relationship. Because she could always eat something else. In other words, it's not so apparent that there's an issue with her children, because maybe she's just eating, she can eat other food. Amrabu, Maidu Rav Sheshis agrees, who says that she could eat. He'll agree in this situation, Sheim Nis Armala Shenochelas, that if she becomes a widow, at that point no longer does she eat. Midi Hutaima Elmashim Taitzi Lazabaneha. The whole issue is about the husband, and that people are going to say something bad about the husband, that's not the real man. Nis Armala, Nis Garsha, if she's widowed or divorced, Amri, they'll say Hashta the itnisa. Maybe the incident occurred only afterwards, and therefore it's not something which we would say is on the child. Says the Ran, Acher shenis armula in itnisa, that only happened afterwards. V'nivla l'apostle absul min truma. So she was nibble with apostle, and that's how she's apostle for truma. But it's not necessarily a poor reflection on the husband. Therefore, she will be nema not to eat truma, at least when it comes to that. Amar Rav Papa badik lan Rava. So he looked into the matter. Eishes kain shenensa. If you have a wife of a kain who is honest, yeshu ksuba oin lo ksuba. Now kivan the oinis. Now since there was an oinis, we know that she's usher to her husband. Lagabi kain karatzin, lagabi Yisrael dami. It's the same as a Yisrael. A Yisrael is mutter to a woman who was violated, but if it was baratzon, he's usher. So the same stand of a woman who to a Yisrael, baratzon should be the same thing when it comes to a woman to a kayin ba'inus. So what is the comparable? Ein lo ksuba. Just like a woman who commits eishes ish baratzon, so she leaves the relationship. There's no ksuba. So maybe it's the same thing when it comes to a kain. Maybe she could say ana chazina. You see this situation as we continue to study Alpha Manalov. V'gavrahu de nistapchosadehu. Like I'm basically here, but it's the person whose field is flooded. In other words, as we said before, maybe it's the kedusha, the kahuna that is causing me this situation. But really, I didn't do anything wrong. So maybe she should be entitled to ksuba. So it's our Mishnah. So my skin. You're talking about Yesh Yisrael. So Iba Ratzon Kum Yeshul Ksuba. Certainly, if it was Baratzon, she's not going to get Ksuba, as we said. Iba Oinis, so then Mika Mitzvah Al Gavra, she shouldn't be us to her husband. She could remain in her relationship. So why does the Mishnah say that she has to leave? It must be talking about she's married to an Eshes Kohen. So Iba Ratzon Kum Yeshul Ksuba, of course not. Migar Meishes Yisrael Baratzon. So just like an Eshes Yisrael who has tashmish baratzon is not going to get a ksuba. Certainly, a woman who is married to a kohen is not going to get a ksuba if she had relations baratzon. Now, love, our Mishnah must be talking about ba'inus. There's about Eishes kohen, and she has to leave the relationship because, even though it was ba'inus, but it wasn't her fault. V'katani yeshul ksuba. So therefore, this in fact is a raya that she gets a ksuba. Now the Gemara asks a different question. If let's say she goes right to her husband's face and she says, Girashtani, you have divorced me. Maha, what's the din? Says the Ran. What is the din? Is she allowed to get remarried to someone else? So where's her get? So the Ran says she got ripped up, got lost. So Amr Hamnuna Tashma, come in here. Homeris Taminelach, a woman says, I'm Tame, Diafilo Mishnah Achrena. Now, according to our Mishnah Achrena, the latter part of our Mishnah, the Tani Lomehimna, we say we do not believe her. Again, because maybe she casts her eyes on someone else. Hasamhu de Mishakra. Maybe because in that situation that she's saying that she was Tame, maybe she's lying. The Yada de Bala, Yadome, because the husband doesn't know if it's really true. If in fact she did have Tashmish, ba'oinus. So in that situation, since the husband is not going to know about the situation, so we're concerned that she may lie, and therefore she's not believed. Gabi Girashtani, to go up to the husband's face and say, you have divorced me, the Yadaba Mehimna. Obviously the husband knows definitively if he gave her a get or not. The Chazaka in Ishama Zia Panem Bawa. There's no way a woman's just going to brazenly lie to someone's face. So l'chayra, maybe in this situation, says Rav Hamnuna, that when it comes to this situation, she should be believed. She should be believed because a woman wouldn't be made panav like this. So Amrulei Rava, arguing with Rav Hamnuna, Adarabba, Pumfakert. Even the first part of our Mishnah says that we believe this woman. It's because we said, why would a woman embarrass herself or disgrace herself to talk about how she was defiled? woman wouldn't say unless maybe it was true. That's why we believed her in the Mishnah Rishayna. Maybe we're talking about a situation where she's very angry at her husband, and she will say such a thing. Fine. Meisiv Rav, question 3. Amru l'bal geresh tani mi ma svar diyesh l'hamina yoyser metamani lach ma svar diyesh l'hamina pachlis metamani lach. Okay, so as we said, so maybe you could look at it that the guy doesn't know whether she was violated, but he knows that he gave her a get. So then she's not going to say this and lie to his face because in meiz panav b'fnei bala or pumfa character. You maybe think adarabba, the opposite is the case. That in this situation, by oinus, it's something which is a disgrace. It's an embarrassment. It's a pagam to her. But over here, maybe she is believed. Okay, even fine. Or maybe over there we may believe her, but over here we're not going to believe her because maybe she's just saying it because she's angry. Okay, Meisiv Rav Misharshia, and that's question 3 and 6. TA, I think. Let's see. Question TA. Masvaral shel Rava shiyaser nemenes lima tamini lachem yigerishtani. Right. So that in fact is question 6 TA, which is going to be the last question for this test. Tamani lach lu avidu azui nafsha. Okay. Good. All right. Let's see. Let's just look at, maybe there's a couple of these questions over here. Question TB7. Ha'isha she'amru l'bal gerishtani nemenes Reb Hamnu nemaishna mo'meres tamini lach del mishnah achreina in nemenes shema inet shemeneha nosna be'acher. So on this, the hasam is shakers kiman she'yadas sebal w'yada abal gerishtani yada chazaki in isha me'iza ponem nebala. So that is actually the last question here, which is TB7, which is the same thing as question 3. Okay, and that's that. Fine. Okay, so we're coming down to the end. So Meisiv Rav Misharshia, she asked the following question: Shemayim bin leveincha. A woman says basically that you're incapable of having children. The Mishnah Rishayna, according to the beginning, where we're talking about a situation where she is believed, so tiyufta de Rava. It's a question on Rava. This is not embarrassing to her, it's embarrassing to him that he can't have tashmish properly. So Gemara answers, Hacha delays bakisufa. Over here, there's no embarrassment. Vakatani demehimne took sabarava hasam kivanduli sagula dole umra in yorkachetz ilo isa kedika umra lo umrle. So the fact is that since it's not enough for her to not say that it did not shoot out like a chetz, like this arrow, if it wasn't true, imo isa kidikamra, that's not true, lo amrle, she wouldn't say this because it's something which is something that could have been revealed. Hashmayim bein leveincha, the Mishnah Achrayna, when it comes to that, the Mishnah Achrayna where she's not believed, you have to do it with Hamnuna. V'hacha diyadahi ubal yadave, that the husband knows that he can't conceive. V'gatani delo mehimna, and it says she's not believed. L'ksavar Hamnuna hachanami he gufa amra, she herself says nehi debiya yada, that maybe when it comes to bia he knows, biyarka chetz miyada, he doesn't know. Misham hachi mishakri. So it's not that he has all this information. He may not know necessarily that he has the ability to conceive. Okay. Hahi isasa, there was a woman, the whole yaiman, every day, the tashmish, mikdama masha yadilagara. She would bring water to her husband. Says the Ran, this is an Ashes Kayin Haisa. They're talking about an Ashes Kayin. The Ashes Yisrael, Kivan Diafilu Lafi Devareha, Savura Haisa Shehu Bala, Ein Lacha Oinis Godam Yizeh, Oinis Yisrael, Mishra Shari. Okay. So Yamachad Asila Maya Lamimsha. So every day, says the Rashi, La'achar Tashmish. Whenever after they had Tashmish, Makdama, she would go and Mashi Yodeh Legavra, and she would wash his hands, Kadej Latahar Yodav, make sure he's clean, Leachar Tashmish, the Achas Yomin, one day, Chad V'Avdul Hachi, Amrullah Hada Milsa the Tashmish Havia Idna. So he says like this. So Yom Chad, one day, Asile Ma'ila Mimsha, she brought, the water was brought, Amrullah Hada Milsa Lo Havia Idna. I didn't have Tashmish with you today, right? So, in other words, the fact that you were bringing him water, so one day it was revealed, l'chara, that there was no tashmish at all. So, l'chara, we're talking about a situation. It was an einus. That's why the Ran says we're talking about Eishes Kayin. So, Amalei im kain chad min nachrim. Maybe it was some other person. Ahule dehavi hacha ha'idna, says the Ran. Nachrim meichri ahol. So maybe it was someone else. So I ant lo dilma min hoin. If it wasn't you, maybe it was actually a different man, right? So therefore, I'm usher to you, right? So again, basically, she thought that she was maybe with her husband, and then all of a sudden she figured out that maybe it wasn't her husband. So therefore she's usher. So Rav Nachman eini nasna ba'acher. Maybe her eyes are cast upon someone else. And she has no substance to her words. There was a woman that was not in a good mood with her husband. So she said, today, what is the difference? So she said to him, always I was not in sar with relations. Like today. Now, so he was basically saying, what do you mean? We didn't have tashmish today. So Amalei Kain Halei Nachrin Naftuye Havi Hacha Idna. So it must be there was another man. So I ant lo, if it wasn't you, Dilma Chad Min Hoin. So Malahu Rav Nachman lo tashgichun ba. We don't pay attention again to her. No senase nehava acher havoy. She would just obviously cast her eyes on someone else. Hahu garbi havi me harzek bevesa hu veinta. So you had this person. Says the Rashi, Shayisagar im isha babayas. He was like closed up with a woman in a house. Al asa mari de besa parte noye fuhutza. So they broke through these bushes. V'arak, he was hiding. Amrava isasa sharia. The woman's still mutter. Im isa the avad isur. If he actually sinned, ir chuse havi mirchas. Then he would have hidden himself. Hahu noyef de al lagabiahi intata. There was this adulterer that was with this woman. Asa gaver solik. So this man went up. Noyef, and had relations. Asa bekile bava, and he was hiding by the door curtain. Havi machton tachle tamon, and he was by the cress. The taminun chivya, and a snake ate it. Bamari de Besa, so the owner of the house came. Lomechel min hanhu tachli, to be able to eat some of this cress. But now the problem is that there was a snake that shot its venom inside this cress. Blodaita the intasa, without telling his wife. So the man said, Hahu nayif lo teichem min hoin. Don't eat this cress. The taminhun chiva, because a snake ate it. So Amarava into say sharia. The woman is still mutter. Im isa the avi surah. If it's true that he would have done an iser, nichale deleicha v'lemus. Better that he should have eaten this, and then he would have died, right? If he was having an affair with his wife, he would have let this guy die. Dersiv ki nafu v'dam bidayin. So pshita. So it should be us pashit that she's mutter, right? Because if otherwise this guy about to get caught would have preferred he died. The manatim isur avad. Maybe he did sin. Behind the amule de nichel de lemos bal. The reason why he didn't want the husband to die to tehavi into say ilui, because he actually wanted her to remain married. Because maim genuvim yimtaku, because stolen water is sweeter. Belechem sesarim yinom, and bread which is hidden is tastier. Kamash Molan, says the Ran. So Biklei Bava. So what? So again, this was the he was hiding like by a door curtain. Thought that's lahani tami. The reason why we say these reasons, lavla meimer de belav hachi isasa sira, not because otherwise a woman would be aser. Delesa she'ein ha'isha neser salbala elo bikinoi vestira. She actually needs to have kinoi and stira. O be'ede davar bar. You have to have witnesses. El ilav mishum hani time. It wasn't for these reasons. Hayaroyam b'kayotze bezel chol bal nefesh lochosh la'atzma k'dei losa sidei shemayim. Okay, look at question 4. So, ba'uv the prati noyef l'hoitzi v'arak. Madu israch rav l'taima. Dim isa de avadisura that he would have hid himself. But nonetheless, she wouldn't be also because you need Adim, Asra, etc. So as the Ran said, that the Ilav Hachi, time of wasn't for this reason, that maybe he should still be lochush in order to distance himself from possibly sinning. Hadnulach, the Elu Nedarim, Slikal, Masechnas Nedarim, Hadnulach, the Elu Nedarim, Slikal, Masechnas Nedarim, Hadnulach, the Elu Nedarim, Slikal, Masechnas Nedarim, Adkan.